Right now at 11, drivers look out where an early summer sinkhole suddenly opened up. Plus, big budget cuts in Beaverton, what the proposal could mean for local librarians.
It's gut-wrenching. This is people's livelihood.
But first, the air may say July, but the water?
Very cold, almost shocking. Like, it took the breath out of me when I jumped in.
Because if you're headed anywhere near our rivers this weekend, the word is caution. Good evening and welcome to the weekend. It's going to be a hot one essentially everywhere. So grab that extra bottle of water because what we have seen and felt so far is merely a little taste. Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino, Matt, watching it all. Matt, how hot are we talking here?
You know what, David? We actually set a record today and did what we haven't done yet so far this year, and that is reach 90 degrees. Right now, we're down to 69. Humidity is really quite low. And again, there were a couple of records. Portland hitting 90, breaking the old record of 87. Also tied the record in Troutdale and broke the record in Vancouver. That record had stood since 1912. So already this heat wave is off to a record start. Let's check out what's going to be happening, though, over the weekend, because that's what everybody is thinking about and talking about. And it is going to be a couple degrees warmer as we go into Saturday and Sunday because the east wind is beginning to develop as we speak. In fact, we look at the winds and the forecast beginning at 11 a.m. tomorrow, all easterly, all between about 20 and 23 miles an hour for the most part. Those are the sustained winds. The gusts will be even higher, and that will add to the warming. That's one of the reasons why we have a heat advisory up, not only for the Portland area, but all of Western Oregon, most of Western Washington, save the Olympic Mountains here, down into California and up to the BC border. And that goes from tomorrow until Monday because the heat will be with us just that long. So Mother's Day specifically, it will be sunny, it'll be breezy, it'll be very dry. And yes, it will be hot. We'll climb up to about 92 degrees on Sunday. In fact, that's what we're going to do tomorrow too. But if you think about it, we hit 90 today and most of the day we're in the 80s, and sure, it was warm, but it wasn't unbearable, and I think the weekend will be much like that as well. We'll talk about what will change this as we go into early next week a little later on. David, back to you.
Yeah, thank goodness for the dry heat. Thank you, Matt. Despite this early dose of summer, water throughout our area, lakes, rivers, you name it, is still very, very cold. On the coast today, authorities say 4 people ran into trouble swimming near Tolovana Beach. 2 were able to get out on their own. Firefighters rescued a third. The 4th person, they say, was never found. It is not just the ocean. Rivers are especially dangerous. When you're basking in the sun, sure, a dip looks great, but if you jump or, you worse, fall in, it's a totally another story. Alma McCartney on why the word from first responders is caution.
We are in for a hot one, so it's no surprise some kicked off their weekend on the river.
The Clackamas from High Rocks down to the mouth will be pretty busy with people.
I'm just amazed that people are really out doing it today, and you can imagine what it's going to be next 3 days. Yeah, this place will be packed.
I drove out here, so nice out. I laid in the sun.
I was like, how could I not on a day like this?
Rachel Tolliver couldn't let the sunshine go to waste.
I went into work, it was a regular day, and I decided to take a half day because the weather's so nice. I was like, you know what? I can't be cooped up in this office all day. I'm not going to do it.
At High Rocks, firefighter Dusty Mock says due to snowmelt, the water is deeper and the current faster than it typically is during the summer.
Current's moving pretty quick. It's pretty pushy, so it is a lot harder to swim in than if you're used to coming out here in the summertime.
The firefighters tell me 2 things to keep in mind if you plan on visiting this weekend. First, there are no lifeguards on duty. They don't start until Memorial Day. And second, the water is really, really cold.
As soon as you jump in, they call it cold water shock. Your body has an initial reaction to take a big gasp. So if you jump in and you're underwater and you take that big gasp, usually you can go right to the bottom.
He says it only takes a few minutes to get too cold to move around effectively. Many swimmers Friday felt that firsthand.
Very cold, almost shocking. Like, it took the breath out of me when I jumped in, but at the same time, it's really nice and refreshing, especially like to get out and then be able to lay in the sun, just air dry, you know.
Downriver in Canby, dozens stayed cool with a beer or cider at a sold-out Brewfest.
It's sold out tonight and tomorrow night.
A first-of-its-kind event at the fairgrounds, according to Raylene Kmeyer.
I didn't think we'd get this. I mean, this is fantastic. I mean, there was over 800 tickets sold. And I mean, I thought, oh my gosh, please, somebody please come. And they came.
Plenty of space indoors provided a break from the sun, but many ventured back outside, enjoying the end of the first day of this heat wave. In Clackamas County, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Love her enthusiasm. They definitely came. Meanwhile, the city of Portland is offering 4,000 new energy-efficient air conditioners. It is a continuation of the Cooling Portland program that kicked off after the 2021 heat dome. To be eligible, you have to live in Portland proper and have an income that is 60% or less than the median. You can request a unit through the city's website. That is portland.gov/clean energy. And stay with us all this weekend for continuing coverage. You can find the latest forecasts and updates on air on KGW.com, on our social media pages, and of course on the KGW app. Developing tonight, MAX trains are back in service after a vehicle and train collided in the Hazelwood neighborhood. Fire officials say the driver of a Chevy crashed into a Blue Line train around 8 this evening. This is near the MAX stop at East 122nd and Burnside. That driver had to be pulled out of their vehicle. No word on their condition. A second ambulance was dispatched for a passenger on the train. All right, another traffic alert, this time in southeast Portland. This one after a sinkhole opened up this afternoon on southeast Yamhill at 76th Avenue. This is in front of the Ascension Catholic Church in the Mount Tabor neighborhood. People tells us while it looks pretty small from the surface, the hole is actually about 10 feet deep and could quickly get bigger. So Yamhill is closed between 75th and 76th. But before crews got there, neighbors say they put out buckets and bins with flags to warn drivers.
It went from 6 inches at 2:30, and you see what it is now. I mean, it's a crater, and it took an hour and a half. But I think the buses pounding on it didn't help.
Well, good for them for getting the word out, stopping people from getting through there. PBOT says they are investigating the extent of the damage. Crews are going to be out there this weekend. TriMet adds Line 15 will not be stopping at all between Southeast 60th and 76th until further notice. Let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, starting with the heartbreaking case of a 4-year-old who was murdered. The update today, we learned his mother filed for a restraining order against the boy's father in an effort to get her son back. Now, court documents show a judge denied that request, and a week later, Jordan Clay was dead. This comes after his father, 19-year-old Marcavius Ware, pleaded not guilty to killing Jordan. Well, new tonight, a 15-year-old has been arrested for a stabbing inside the Salem Center Mall. Salem police say the victim and suspect were in some sort of altercation before the stabbing on the second floor near the Macy's entrance and food court. It happened around 12:30 this afternoon. The investigation shutting down part of the complex there. The victim was sent to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. A Milwaukee police officer faces criminal charges for alleged official misconduct on the job. Court documents say Officer David McBay had sex while on duty back in 2019. The documents did not specify further details. The Milwaukee Police Department says as soon as they learned about the incident, they turned it over to the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office. McBay was fired from the department in March. And yet another development for the Mount Hood Birth Center. State officials have now extended the deadline for them to reopen to August 3rd. The Oregon Health Authority says Legacy is making progress toward getting the center back up and running. They closed it without the required state approval back in March. Now, it could still reopen before August. Legacy had said earlier this week they were on track to reopen in mid-June. Well, new at 11, it is a place people count on to borrow books, to do research, and sometimes to ask for assistance. Now the city of Beaverton is looking to pull back on both library staff and hours. Catherine Cook explains why.
It feels like a slap in the face to them.
Adam Korst is heartbroken for librarians in the city of Beaverton. As the Library Union president, Korst says he sat in the same room with 8 Beaverton librarians last week as city officials told them their jobs were unofficially on the chopping block, pending approval by city council.
It's gut-wrenching. This is people's livelihood. And librarians, it's a very niche job, and it's very hard to find jobs in that field. And this is something that people have worked a very long time for.
The pending cuts come as the city of Beaverton responds to what they call unprecedented funding challenges. They noted rising inflation and financial strains brought on by the pandemic. The result? A $10 million general fund shortfall and a $1 million library fund deficit. This week, the Budget Committee recommended cutting 18 library staff positions. That includes 2 part-time positions at the Beaverton City Library, 8 full and part-time positions at the Murray Shoals branch, and 1 vacancy. The city may also reduce hours at the Murray Shoals branch from 7 to 4 days a week.
I hate to see anyone lose their job, right? Because at the end of the day, they provide a service, and it's a service that the community uses. So.
John Payne says he uses the Murray Shoals branch about 3 times a week and lives less than a mile away. He says he'll feel the impact of reduced hours.
If you've got to go to the main branch, of course that's a fantastic facility, but at the same time it's nice having local access to to a nice branch.
Another library guest told us he's indifferent to the reduced hours, happy to visit other branches, and says he won't notice staffing cuts.
They've got signs that say use the electronic checkout. You don't need a librarian anymore.
Korst feels much differently. He's hanging on to the city's words that these cuts are not yet a done deal, hoping that perhaps they can find a way to reduce the budget without reducing jobs.
Again, these are people, these are lives, these are stories. It was incredibly challenging to sit with these 8 librarians and hear the stories on how this is going to impact their lives.
The next Budget Committee meeting is scheduled for May 23rd. A public hearing and possible approval by City Council is slated for June 6th. City officials tell me if the library cuts go through, guests should expect reduced hours to kick in late this summer or early fall. David.
Catherine Cook reporting tonight. Thank you, Catherine.